On-rail shooters the likes of Time Crisis have been an obvious genre to hit VR. And in many ways, you could argue that VR was a natural evolution of the tactical but limited style. Though Time Crisis is still a mysterious no-show to the VR arena, there have been plenty of on-the-rail shooters to scratch the itch. Crisis VRigade is an on-the-rails high-stakes VR shooter, putting players in the role of a SWAT officer arriving on the scene of a bank robbery/hostage situation beginning to unfold. Let's take a look at some details. While Crisis VRigade may not offer a wealth of variance in gameplay, what it does very well. The game opens in a police station where you can begin to familiarize yourself with your weapon, how to reload it, and just the general mechanics of how this game's gonna operate. You're given two difficulty options, allowing you to ease your way into these mechanics, while later bringing you to tiers with an increased challenge. Once selecting your difficulty, you appear on the scene of a hostage situation that is underway, and you'll need to immediately take cover behind your SWAT vehicle to avoid any oncoming fire. I played Crisis VRigade with both the move controllers and the aim controller. The accuracy and tracking for both options worked great, though it's always difficult to pass up an opportunity to use the aim controller. The challenge of Crisis VRigade is likely its best asset, though I know many people will wish more difficulty options exist. I personally loved that the game offers no health meter, making it crucial that you count your hits, and little variation in difficulty. What the game offers instead is a challenging gameplay mechanic where how far you progress depends on how well you handle the situation. And to me, that's what realism in VR is all about. As you progress through the game, you'll notice that killing specific enemies will also result in a limited weapon pickup. But you have to shoot the weapon quickly, or you're gonna miss your chance. Once you've cleared the room, it's on to the next area where it's time to take out the next onslaught of enemies. It's hard to have any complaints about a game that costs only $6, but I do have a few. First, while I realize the game is an on-the-rails shooter, slowly teleporting from one area to the next is a bit of an immersion breaker. Honestly, I wonder if there may have been a better transition style, as my biggest issue with this is simply how long it takes to move from one area to the next. I can't help but wonder if maybe even just a black screen with 3D sounds as your character runs through waves of bullets just to find cover would have been better. It's hard to say. The only other thing that I hope we will see is an extreme mode of sorts, where enemies are more fluid in motion and respond to your movement in a more realistic manner. As it stands, the game is hard enough, but admittedly, the experience still falls short of the realistic and stressful nature of the situation it places you in. This is small and not really a necessity to enjoy the game, but I personally would love to see this change. Let's be honest. It's not overly pretty, and while that does change the immersion of the experience, it certainly isn't that much of an issue. And in many ways, it offers the benefit of a less stress-inducing experience for players that may not want the realism of this situation. It's also understandable when you consider the size of the development team, and more than forgivable with Sumo Lab's well-targeted price point. Rather than aiming high, Sumo Lab read their audience, analyzed what the game's worth truly was in the marketplace, and they nailed it. In my book, this was a great strategy for the profitability of this title, as it will sell more copies of Crisis VRigade and demonstrate what Sumo Lab has up their sleeve. While Crisis VRigade isn't a must-play VR experience, it's certainly a great use of VR, and may end up being a great intro piece for the first-time VR players, as well as a great challenge for headset veterans. And again, $6. I would highly recommend giving this a go, and honestly can't imagine any player being disappointed. I really enjoyed Crisis VRigade, and I'm surprised by its replayability. It's challenging, tactical, engaging, and overall well executed. This is a hard one to pass up in my book, and between Crisis VRigade and Sumo Lab's other recent PSVR release of Trainer VR, can't wait to see what else the team can bring to the table. Did I mention it's only $6?